Lori Stansel, your life strategist coach, and this is the second video installment of our New Year's series, hashtag Waistline Wednesday. Last week I recorded our intro session or intro video, and if you missed it, please go back and check it out. It's about a 3-minute video. You can go to facebook.com/thegoodlifewithlori. Now, listen, I'm going to jump right in because we all have busy schedules, right? And we don't have a lot of time. So I want to get to the meat of this so that it can help you to dump the excess baggage, because that's what we're talking about. We're not just talking about the excess pounds that we put on, but we're talking about our emotional baggage and how it can impede us and affect and impact how we live the rest of our lives. So the first chapter 1, that we're going to get into is going to be talking about disappointments. Now, remember, last week I said you were going to be the author of your own autobiography. Well, this is chapter 1. Chapter 1, we're going to talk about dealing with disappointments. It's something that we have to all deal with. We can't avoid it. It's something that's a part of life. You know, I remember back in 2002, I had a really rough year. I was a new mom and I was dealing with some health issues. I had a lot of things going on. My ministry that I had started was really, really new. It was about a year old. And so I was kind of just doing everything on my own. And I was under a lot of stress. And I was dealing with disappointments. Well, at the end of the year, I had to have surgery. So I was at home recouping. I was down about the fact that I had to have surgery. I didn't want to have it. I was also a little down because while I was recouping, my daughter had to stay with her grandparents. So I didn't see her for 2 weeks. I think I saw her twice in that 2-week period. So it was a really tough time for me. But it worked out to my advantage because I ended up having to face some things. When I stopped moving and when I stopped being busy, I was left with my own thoughts. Have you ever been there? And I couldn't hide. I had to deal with the things that had been troubling me all year long. And one of the things that I didn't want to do was bring in that old baggage into the new year. Well, I was listening to a man of God preach, and he was telling his congregation the importance of just writing out your disappointments, making a list of everything that disappointed you, mistakes, setbacks, failures, betrayals, anything. Just write it down and then look at that list. And then they went through a whole process of praying over it, and they actually destroyed the list. They actually lit it on fire. Now, listen, I did not start a fire in my house. That's not where this story is going. But the point is, they destroyed any trace of that disappointment so that it never plagued them. The whole idea was symbolic, that disappointment would never plague them again, and that they could move forward with the memory, but not with the pain or the sting associated with the memory. And I thought, that is a great idea. I'll do that right here in my house. So that's what I did. I got out my pad, I got out my paper, and I started writing down all of the disappointments. And it was very interesting what happened. As I was writing out each disappointment, line 1, 2, 3, whatever, an interesting thing started to happen. Something happened in me. I began to, each time I wrote down a disappointment, my mind would reflect back to the situation, the scenario, what caused it. And I really began to look with a more objective viewpoint. When I was going through it, I was emotional. My emotions were all over the place. I couldn't really see anything except for me. But having a few months go by, it gave me some distance, and I was able to then look at it differently. And I was able to see my role in every single one of them. and I was able to see patterns that I needed to break. Now, was it all my fault, or was I the blame for all of it? Some of it, yes. If I'm going to be honest, yes. I was not mature in some areas, and so I made some mistakes. And then there were other things that were at fault for someone else's fault, but I still, even then, I had a role in it. If it was something that happened that was out of my control, I had to look at my reaction. How did I respond? Because how I responded revealed what I was really thinking, how I was really feeling, and what was going on with me emotionally. So as I was writing down all of these disappointments, it was like I was being detoxed. I was being purged. And I'm going to stop right there, and I'll tell you another story that I think will help you to understand what I was experiencing. Many of you that follow me know that I'm a strong advocate for wellness, and I push the importance of being your own advocate and the importance of being responsible for your own health and well-being, and not waiting for something to happen, but to practice preventative measures so that you can be healthy and live long and finish strong. Well, one of the things I do to feed that is I listen to a naturopath doctor. I love this guy. I love his passion, his realness. I love the fact that he incorporates God into everything that he does, and it's a blessing. Well, one of the things he said is that when he has a new client that comes to him and says, "Oh, doctor, I have an issue with headaches. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. My focus is off. I feel like I have brain fog all the time. Give me some supplements. I want some supplements to help me." Now, he does not immediately start giving them supplements. What he does is he suggests that they go on a detox, that they take time to detox. And then what usually happens is they go back to him after the detox process. And a lot of the symptoms that they were complaining about have either gone away or have been alleviated and lessened. So now he can look at what's really going on and treat what's really going on and deal with the root. And so that was what was happening to me. I was going through a detox. There were chemicals and toxins that my memory had retained and was holding on to, and it was causing other symptoms to occur in my body. And one of those things was my inability to have clarity and focus on what God wanted me to do with my life in the coming year, 2003. It was blocking, these disappointments were blocking my ability to hone into what God wanted me to do, or what I knew I needed to do in the next year. So by writing out all of these disappointments, I want you to listen to this very carefully. I was purging my mind and my emotions, and I was allowing myself to look at everything, acknowledge what I needed to acknowledge, receive the beginning process of healing, and to get my emotional stability and clarity back. And so that is what I want you to do between now and our next Wednesday. I want you to get out your life planner. If you don't have a life planner, I will provide you a link of a really good one that you can use. There are many, many good ones out there now. There was a time when you couldn't really find a decent planner. Now they're just a surplus. So I'm going to give you a suggestion. If you already have one, use what you got. But I want you to rip out a piece of paper, because remember, we're not going to keep these, okay? This is just a purging exercise, because we are dumping the excess weight emotionally. So I want you to write down and take your time. Take some downtime where you're by yourself, where you don't have, your child saying, "What am I going to have for lunch?" Your husband saying, or your wife saying, "What are we going to eat for dinner?" We're out of toilet paper. The light bulb went out in the living room. No, you can't focus when all that white noise is going on. So get your quiet time every single day. Settle yourself. Press the pause button and start to write out those disappointments. And don't just list them out. Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3. But take your time and look at what you're writing and allow your emotion, whatever emotion is assigned or attached to that disappointment, allow it to come up, because when it does, that's when you can purge it through looking at your role, looking at the things that you need to acknowledge, looking at the lessons that you've learned, and then move on to the next one. So that's your assignment. That's your chapter 1. And join me next week when we continue this journey of you becoming the author of your brand new autobiography on Waistline Wednesday on my Facebook page at thegoodlifewithlori.com. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.